episode 2 of our season entitled The Ideas That Matter. Uh, in our first episode, we discussed what politics is para mas madaling maintindihan ng Filipino audience. No? And on this episode number 2, talakayin naman natin, let us discuss what democracy is. Ano nga ba yung demokrasya? Simply stated, ang demokrasya po ay ang root word nito o yung salitang ito ay galing sa Griego, no? Tulad ng sinabi na elementary, high school tayo sinasabi niya, galing sa words na demo meaning people and kratos meaning government or rule, no? It is a ruling or a government of the people. Yeah. But famously, democracy was defined brilliantly by US President Abraham Lincoln na sinabi niya na democracy is that kind of government that is of the people, for the people, and by the people. So that was the uh, most articulate definition of what democracy is. So, kung ito pala, the simplest, it is a government of the people. Why is it then that the people is actually being governed by political leaders? So, ano ba talaga yung democracy? Kasi ang akala natin, okay, sa Amerika, sa Europe, yan, mga democratic countries yan. Nung panahon ng Cold War, yung Soviet Union, sasabihin nila, hindi democratic country yun. Actually, that is a misnomer or misunderstanding. Dahil yung Soviet Union, yung Communist Party, hinahalal din naman ng mga tao yon. The key difference nga lang is that in the political setup of the Communist Soviet Union, there is only single party. There is only one party. No, the party members, sila yung maglalaban-laban para sa pwesto. Sino sa kanila yung uupo, sino sa kanila yung anong mga posisyon ang kanilang hahawakan. So they still elect, no? The people, the party elects their representatives to govern their government, no? Single part lang. In contrast sa Amerika, there are two parties or at least, no? Pwede rin naman may independent din na pwedeng tumakbong independent, wala kang political parties. But basically, in the United States, there are only two political parties, the Democrat and then the Republican. So sila, unang gagawin nila sa primaries, mag intra-party, ibig sabihin, sa loob ng partido, in Republican, in Democrat, mga kapwa nila Democrat, sila muna magsasabong, maglalaban-laban. And kung sino mag-emerge sa kanila na top contender, so siya magiging panlaban ng kanilang partido sa president, para sa presidente. Ganun din yung Republican. So, sino mag-emerge doon na pangbato nila, panlaban nila, siya yung kandidato ng kanilang partido. And so, these two political parties have to campaign the general population, American people. So, basically, ang pagkakaiba lang ng Soviet Union at saka nung American system or Western European system is that maraming political parties, two or more political parties maglalaban-laban para sa isang pwesto. Katulad din sa Pilipinas, marami tayong political party. In communist societies, in communist countries, especially in Soviet Union at the time, democratic pa rin yun. Kaso nga lamang, political party, doon lang pagpipilian. Pero pinagpipilian pa rin, there is still election coming from party members and party officials. And these party officials, kung sino iahalal ng kanilang partido na mamumuno ng bansa nila, sila yung magiging partido. That's why sa Soviet Union, makita mo, mayroong parang Congress din doon, di ba? They convene and they elect leaders. Pag namatay yung leaders nila, mag-elect sila ng bagong president at that time. The last president of the Soviet Union was Mikhail Gorbachev, di ba? And we've seen a lot of pictures of those times na meron silang Congress din, no? And they can also debate the way, Parliament, British Parliament, or even the US Congress debates policies of international importance. So ganun din, may election din, may halalan din. Ang pagkakaibang halang, nag-iisa lang yung party at doon mga miyembro at opisyal lang ng partido ang pwedeng kumandidato. So yun ang pagkakaiba. So in a strict sense, pareho pa rin silang democratic. Okay. Ganun pala. Anong pinagkaiba ng Soviet Union sa Amerika? Kaya sinasabi natin, yung Amerika is also a democratic country. Soviet Union, democratic country kasi hinahalal din nila yung kanilang leader. Yung pinagkaiba, multi-party yung isa naman, one party. Okay. But the key distinction, the key difference between America and the Soviet Union during the Cold War is that the Soviet Union is has an economy but that they call a planned economy, a communist, a socialist and going to communist economy, while the American and other Western countries economic system is what they call as capitalistic. So yun palang key difference nila, capitalist and communist or socialist. In a capitalist economy, meron tayong tinatawag na free enterprise. Citizens are able to own businesses, to start businesses by capital. So it's ang pinaka yung capital. Siyempre, ang capital mo kailangan may tubo, so that they have banks, they have financial systems that support this ideology that people must be able to own private property. They can own businesses, they can engage in and pursue profits ng tubo. Kaya yun ang whereas in the Soviet Union, no individual, no citizen can own properties, like those in the United States. Meaning walang concept dun ng private property. Everything belongs to the state. And everyone is allocated based on what they need and their contribution as well. Kaya planned economy yun, walang may-ari. Lahat, pati bahay, it's provided by the state. And pati yung damit, it's provided by the state. At walang negosyo na yung tubo mo ay para sa iyo lang kasi pag-aari mo yun. That is the key difference. So, yun yung economic system na nagtutunggali nung panahon ng Cold War. Yung state-owned versus free enterprise ang tawag nila. Malayang pagninegosyo at saka yung state-owned. Lahat, walang pag-aari ng individual. Lahat yan ay pag-aari ng Estado. Yun ang kanilang pagkakaiba. Yan ang difference between that. So, they are not different in the way that democracy is. Both of them are democratic societies because people that govern their countries are elected by the people. In the case of Western and Western countries, US and allies, they elected by the general public. In the case of the Soviet Union, elected by the party members. So yun lang ang pagkakaiba nila. But the same people, and the same notion of sovereignty, because the sovereignty is defined as the supreme power to command and enforce obedience. The government exercises that, and there's a leader. This is a formal head of state. He represents the country abroad, like the president of the Soviet Union and also the president of the United States, etc. Of course, in Great Britain, the monarchy. These are that is the head of state of Great Britain, and so with other countries that have similar setup. So ganun naman, walang pinagkaiba doon. Just the setup, yung struktura, how they are governed. So basically, ang talagang key difference doon is yung economic system. Pero yung democracy ba hindi? So may degree ng democracy pala. Democracy, the first place, in ancient Greece, hindi naman sila talaga democratic the way we understand it now. democratic like in our country sa Pilipinas, no? Nag-aaral tayo. Hindi naman ganoon eh. In fact, in ancient Greece, ruling elite lang yun. Parang communist country, no? Na yung mga elite lang o members of the party, doon sa kanila yung mga elite, the slaves, the ordinary people, they don't have. And in fact, United States din naman eh. Dati nakaboto lang dun eh. Yung landed people, may mga pag-aari. Yung mga walang pag-aari, walang ari-arian, hindi sila nakakaboto. And there were also slaves in the United States in the past. So it was also an evolution. So I said there's a degree of what you call democratic credentials, no? Ang mga bansa. In the present, ganyan din naman situation sa China. Walang political parties doon except the Communist Party. And the Communist Party elects among themselves who will rule the government, no? So yun lang ang pagkakaiba. Pero just the same, mayroong election. So in other words, mas actually yung communist state, yung democratic credentials nila is so much like the democratic credential of ancient Greece, of ancient Athens. So ganun lang, hindi sila nagkakalayo, no? In the economic side, parang ngayon ang China, parang US na rin because they are also capitalistic. Kaya nga ang sabi nga, no, starting with Deng Xiaoping after Mao Zedong died. So, nag-ascend sa leadership si Deng Xiaoping. And Deng Xiaoping started to open up the country and he adopted a capitalist approach, no, to developing the economy of China. And that was the start of the, rapprochement with Washington, with the United States. Kaya naging magkaibigan sila at nagkaroon to rin sigalot yung China at Russia at the time, no? Kaya mas naging malapit ang China sa Amerika. And America entered into the Chinese market first by putting up yung factories in special economic zones. That's how it started. And then of course, sabi na, pwede ba yung communist yung China tapos capitalistic niya? Sabi ni Deng Xiaoping, it is Chinese socialist, it is socialism with Chinese characteristics. That's how Deng Xiaoping defined it at a practical level. Sabi nga niya, it doesn't matter whether the cat is black or white, so long as it catches the mice. So, sa Tagalog pa, hindi walang problema. Kaming problema kung itim o puti yung pusad. Ang mahalaga, nanguhuli ito ng daga. No? So that's how Deng Xiaoping characterized China's acceptance, no? And what you call the implementation of a capitalistic economic system, no? From being a communist. So parang hindi kasi totoong communism ang China. Communism na lang sana yung political party. Okay, that's how it is. That's what democracy is. So democratic din pala ang China. Democratic din pala ang US, no? Kasi hindi naman sila monarch, wala namang hari doon. Hindi sa monarchy, hindi rin sila theocratic, dahil hindi naman mga pari, no? Hindi church ang namamayani doon. So, hindi naman din sila oligarchy. Later on, we will discuss it because there are accusations that the United States in fact no longer democratic, it's an oligarchic country. But that would be the subject later on. Ibang topic naman yan, okay? So that is what democracy is. At the very simplest term, it is a government of the people. So long as there are no kings, there are no priests that rules the country, in that country, as long as there are elections, meaning to say it may be exclusive to a single party or through competition of political parties, well, the same thing, democratic pa rin yan. May degree lang silang pagkakaiba. It's a measure of degrees, not of substance. Okay.